Hi, this is Troels from ATO, and in this video we're gonna go on a deep sound venture into Rhythmic Revolution. Let me just preface before we get started that I've never seen, heard, or felt a library like this. There's really nothing quite like it. We've obviously sampled a variety of traditional percussive elements such as drums, percussion, ethnic, metallic percussion, but we've also done percussion with air, body percussion, plants, plastic, and water, and all those combined create Rhythmic Revolution. And as you're going to see in this video, we have tons and tons of presets. The library actually has the ability to randomly generate presets, and all these presets, everything you're going to hear in this entire video was done with a randomizer up here. You essentially click it and it takes you somewhere you've never been, and you can do that in eternity. It's a little bit like our Blendstruments, but just one step further. If you look here, you can see we have layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, and layer 4. And before I get started on the whole video, I just want to explain a little bit about the user interface because it's capable of doing so many things. The heart of the library is really based on these 4 modules, which is essentially 4 instances of contact within itself. So you can actually have 4 different rhythms playing together. In this case, we're going to have ethnic, drums, plant materials, and water playing together. You can also control the volume, the pan, the tuning, the tempo. You can reverse sounds, put filters in for each of the individual modules. You also have stuff like transients, so if you want to define the attack a little more, if you want to create envelopes or distortion, bit crosses, you can do that. And then we also have hundreds of different convolution reverbs that are also applicable to each of these individual modules. So there's a crazy amount of stuff you can do. And again, you can see we have a randomize in here and a reset button, and those are awesome. And I'll demonstrate that in great lengths. We actually have another Facebook video where I'm demonstrating 1 hour without talking at all, just randomly generating new patches so you can see how it works. You can also crossfade between the individual modules. So you can see here, we actually have a crossfader here. So you'll be crossfading between layer 1 and layer 3 and layer 2 and layer 4. That allows you to do a lot of crazy stuff. So if you want to have water in the beginning and then fade into drums, you can do that stuff. So many things, but that's just a little brief introduction to the UI. I'll go through it as we go through this demo as well. You can also click down here if you want to get a little more information about how the library works and all the individual things you can do. But the core of the library actually starts here in the middle. If you click here where it says ethnic or drums or plants or water, you're going to get a menu of the core categories of sounds in the library. So we got air, we got body percussion, traditional percussion, drums, that's a drum kit. We got ethnic percussion. Then we have more esoteric metallic stuff. It can both be metallic percussion, but also anything in the realm of metal. We have plant material, trees, cactuses, a variety of different things. We got plastic and water, and each of these categories contain a subset of banks, and each of these banks have 12 different sounds in them. And there are thousands and thousands of sounds in the library, so there's a lot of stuff you can do by going in and manipulating these banks. You can either do it custom, like sit and click and choose what you want to do here, or you can just click the randomizer. But as I said in the beginning, everything you're about to hear in this video was done purely by clicking this randomize button here. And let's just kick it off here with the 60s spy movie. This is a random thing I did, and it pretty much just sounded like some crazy show from the 60s. You're gonna get it like bongos and everything. All right, moving on to the next one here. So that was just 3 presets, and as you can hear, it's totally diverse from spy movie to totally weird sound design. All of a sudden we're in flute world, only using air-based articulations here. Let me click the randomizer button here and let's see what happens. It's gonna randomize within the air category here, and you can see everything gets randomized. Filters, parameters, panning, volume, convolution reverbs, everything gets randomized. So I have no idea what this is gonna sound like. Let's just check it out. All right, fair enough. Let me click on the randomize button again. And again. All right, so that was an example. We were only listening to the different air sounds, and each time I click the randomizer here, you can see it actually randomizes the different banks within just the air category here. And it also randomizes the sound down here in your keyboard. And let me just show you something down here. If you look at the keyboard down here, you can see there's green, purple, blue, and then on another blue, and they correlate to the colors up here as well. And within each of these, you have 12 different sounds covering the octave. So let me just show you right now what we have in layer 1, layer 2, layer 3, and layer 4. And then the key here in the middle is what triggers it all. It actually plays all the layers together. But let me just show you the individual parts here. So we're going to start down here, and then I'll work my way up so you can see how each of these keys have different samples. And when you change the bank here, you're going to go into a different bank that each contain 12 samples times 4 here in this case. So let me just start here from the bottom, play my way up. It's actually a pretty cool groove. Let me continue playing the samples up here. And one of the greatest things about the library is within these thousands and thousands of sounds, they're all tempo synced to your DAW. So no matter what crazy sound, whether it's a pan flute or weird air sounds that have been processed through the KYMA system, it's all tempo synced to your DAW. And that's really one of the great things about this library, and why you can also go double tempo and half tempo on these guys here. But let's move on here. I got a lot of different presets. As I mentioned in the beginning, I have dozens and dozens. The library contains, I can't remember how many, but I'll be demonstrating about 60, 70 presets in this video alone. And as you can see, if you want to make a preset, just click the randomizer button and you're in a completely new place. All this is in real time, so you can see whatever I'm doing when I click this button, it just happens and you're transported to a new world. Speaking of new worlds, let's go to the next preset here. And as you can probably hear, the library has a very organic sounds. The plants were really recording any kind of leaves with contact mics, playing around with the needles of cactuses and bonsai trees and all that stuff. But in this case, mixed and crossfaded together with plastic sounds and ethnic percussion. But let me just click the randomizer button in this one as well. Let's hear another abstract plastic plant ethnic combo. You know, my thought process with this library was to create something completely wild and revolutionary new when it comes to rhythm, like not just have drums or percussion and the ability to randomly generate it, but use other materials. You can create these super organic textures. As you can probably hear, everything in this library is very organic. You can go all the way from Birdman to the most abstract sound design. So let me show you with a couple more patches here. And in the stuff we just saw, you can see I was clicking the random button here, which will randomly generate a bunch of stuff. It actually keeps the bangs here, so it will not mess with your main bang. So if you have air selected for all these guys, you know you're going to be staying in the air realm. But it will randomize all the individual sounds here and all the options we have here, both transients and all that stuff, whether it's filters or tuning or panning and all that stuff. That will be completely randomized, but it keeps the core category here. But if you don't want all the crazy effects and filters and tuning options and pan and all that, you can click reset here and it actually cleans it up. So that's why sometimes you're going to see me press the reset button here and it'll clean up all the sounds. But as you can see in the last example, you can actually also go in here and control everything individually here if you want to have full control over it, and you can clean it up here as well. So you can either use the randomizer here or the reset button, which I like to do when I want to clean things up, or you can go in and custom build your own patch completely from scratch if you want to do that as well. But let's take a little more listens to some of the presets here. And again, every single preset that I'm going through here was made by clicking the random button here and sometimes clicking the reset button. But every patch in the library was randomly generated in the sort of true spirit of the library. But just wait, you're going to hear a lot of diverse material. We're just getting started. And it's funny with this one, it totally reminds me about Bill Laswell and some of his productions, just really funky, ethnic, unique, special. Let me try to play it one more time and randomly generate a bit of things. So more in the realm of body percussion. Let me play this patch a little more here, and I'll just talk over the different things I'm doing. But let's click the reset button first here to clean it up, and let's listen to it in its core state. All right, cool. So I'm gonna take some of the sounds here and change them right now. try to reverse this tonal sound here. And you can hear the body percussion and the drum kit is playing in sync as well. Let's try a different groove here and a different body sound. Let's try some percussion here on module 4. Isn't it cool? Doesn't it, like, do you feel me when I say like it has more of like a Birdman vibe to it? Very sort of jazzy. Let's try this. And let's try the randomize again. It's fun. Completely different world. And more jazzy again. And as you can probably hear, there's a certain texture in this air body drum combination. So even when you randomize it, it's still gonna have sort of similarities, but still with such variance. And you can see I'm clicking the reset button here. Oh, that's cool. Just to clean up from the effects here. You can see when the effects is on, it tends to get more like sound designy. All right, let's go to the next pastime. Isn't that a cool groove? Let me play with it here and play a little around with the different things here and options. And let's try maybe some of the convolutions too. And if you want to create aura-like effects, you can see that we're crossfading and doing some crazy stuff with the samples here. And then you'll notice down here on the horizontal panorama that we have a mix and a pan function, and then we have a rate down here. Let me turn the mix down here. You can hear it's not as gated, it's more fluent. And then I'll turn the mix up here. Check it out. So you can see we're crossfading between the different modules here, and you can also control the rate, both in terms of what goes on here. So let's do that a little bit here and change the rate here, and then we'll change the rate down here as well. So all of a sudden you're a completely different world in terms of rhythms. So you can virtually do any kind of rhythm you want in this library. And the most extreme crossfade you can do, you can see there's actually individual filters running per module here, convolutions, bunch of different things. And that's what makes it so unique. When you click the randomizer here, there are so many sample parameters, so many samples and scripts that are flipped around and tuned and bent into random perfection, if you will. And that's what makes the library so interesting. You can essentially just click random here and you go again. Let's go over here to the third module and listen to some more presets. That's nasty. Let me go to the next one here. That's a great example, and as you can see, everything I'm doing here is in real time, so clicking buttons, just having fun, and let the library completely take you away. We just went from crazy experimental fusion jazz into beautiful ambient, almost modern, distorted stuff. So as you can see, when I touch our crossfade system, we also call it vertical panorama down here. You can actually alternate. You don't have to change samples. You can really do a lot just by tweaking these guys. Let me do a little more. let me bring up the last module here, also containing 16 different presets. And as I mentioned in the beginning, everything you're hearing was essentially done by just clicking the random button here and then clicking reset if we liked it. So I actually just changed this preset by itself here. So let's just do it a little more here and see what we got. And you know, that's what I love about the library, that you can go from very standard percussion, it can be totally filmic action percussion at times, it can be jazz, but all of a sudden you also have these totally unique, never heard before combinations of organic sounds mixed with all the synthetic elements we have here. And you really have, in the true sense of a hybrid library, I think this is really one of the most hybridized I've ever heard in terms of having totally organic capabilities, but it can go as deep into the most gritty, weird sound design. And with all the hundreds of convolutions we have in the library here, you can really, really tweak it to whatever degree you want. Let's actually just listen to what a convolution sounds like here on its own. Let me just play the sound by itself. And this is awesome. The convolutions here are actually all our new textual convolution delays. So the library has two different ways of doing convolutions. You have our chaos effect down here, and you can do your normal stereo delay if you want to do that. But we also have these textual convolutions, and in this library in particular, we have a lot of them. They're literally hundreds and hundreds. Some of them are tonal, some of them are rhythmic. They actually sync to a tempo as well. So they'll create a delay of a different texture on top of the instrument, whereas a normal delay will only delay the instrument itself. The textual delays here actually create textures and take textures from other sound sources. So we have a lot of kitchen percussion, for example, that are non-tonal, that works great in terms of creating more alternative textures. So let me show you a couple of different convolutions on this weird sound here. And it's actually cool. You can hear how the convolution sort of burns in when the sound gets louder. The convolution starts getting more shine on and more bright. It's absolutely great. Let's check out some more presets here. All right, in the true spirit of the library, why don't we take this beautiful acoustic groove here and then really, really try to mangle it to something entirely different. Let me try here in real time. Each of these modules is actually great on their own. Let me try to play this a little more isolated. I realize we're listening to a lot of like heavy groove stuff, but let's just listen to just one part of it here. And while you can see I'm dragging here with the mouse, this is actually the core sound. When you select these guys here, those are the sounds that will be played down here on the combo. But obviously you have access to all 12 different sounds. So let me just play the different metal modules here. Down on the keyboard you can see green to green module, purple to purple, and so forth. I mean, if you're into motion picture stuff, the whole simmer style, those really organic, pulsing kind of things, this one's to die for. I mean, the journey is endless, but I think you get the idea here that this library is very special. It can literally take you in places that you could never possibly imagine. At least for me, with over 200 libraries in the bag, it's like I've never toyed with anything like this that can really bring me into such new realms. Sometimes it's totally surprising. It can be dark, it can be nasty and useless, but at other times it'll come up with like the coolest thing. And I almost feel like I'm repeating myself here by saying how versatile it is, but I hope this demo has given you a little bit of an insight. We also have another video on Facebook where I take like an hour-long demonstration and don't talk at all and just sit and essentially create new patches using the random and reset function here. But let's just wrap it up here with a little bit of a water sound. In this case, we're going to listen to a drum set combined with plants and water here, and I can see my load symbol, my PC is working here. But once that's done, we'll get started, and that should be around now. And just before I wrap it up, when you heard that high filter, most of the patches actually have filters on them. I actually haven't done in this video at all, but if you hold down your filter, you can really dial the sounds in more that way as well. And it's just awesome on top of all the tools here that you can just express yourself on the keyboard. So with that said, let me just click the randomizer button here one more time and I'll wrap it up and do some crazy manipulation. And that will be the final end of this video. Thanks so much for watching.